When the Queen of the United Kingdom personally strikes your name from the list of those allowed to touch the crown jewels, that's a real sentence. Meghan Markle became the first in a century to whom Elizabeth II denied the right to wear the royal family's historic jewels: emerald tiaras with cursed histories, brooches with political meaning, necklaces steeped in generations of scandal. None of these were available to the Duchess of Sussex. But what could have made the 95-year-old monarch take such an unprecedented step? I'll reveal the secrets behind this palace intrigue, where jewels became instruments of revenge, and each act of denial concealed a deep, personal drama. Get ready for the shocking details of the most sensational jewelry scandal in the history of the British crown. The story of Britain's crown isn't just about magnificent weddings or dazzling coronations, but also an avalanche of rumors about a mysterious daughters-in-law curse. For more than a century, a shadow has moved through the lavish halls of Buckingham Palace. It's said that any woman daring to join the Windsor family faces a startling resistance, not just from protocol, but from fate itself. Diana Spencer, delicate, radiant, almost ethereal, became the first heroine of the new era of conflict over family jewels. Her lover's knot tiara, with its swinging pearl drops and 19th-century diamonds, became a symbol of happiness slipping through her fingers, while her Spencer family pearl drop earrings were trailed by unsettling hints from the start. It seemed every owner was destined for heartbreak, power struggles, and mysterious misfortune. Even back in 1981, people whispered that these jewels carried a special energy and could change the fate of whoever wore them. Coincidence or not, Diana and her predecessors ended up enmeshed in a web of scandals, tears, and losses, with diamonds, pearls, and emeralds never far from these moments. Strangely enough, conflict over tiaras seemed to arise nearly every time a new woman entered this exclusive circle. It was as if a mystical web entangled each decision, with every gemstone keeping a chapter of darkness. Tradition, chance, or does the dynasty itself enforce its rules through these relics? Just imagine, the next heroine steps out in a piece of jewelry whispered about at Downing Street tea parties, and suddenly, it's as if history itself holds its breath. At the center of this royal sensation was the episode with the wedding tiara, the spark that ignited a scandal on both sides of the Atlantic. Spring 2018. Meghan Markle selects a royal jewel for her wedding at Windsor Castle, her eye landing on an extraordinary emerald tiara surrounded by mystery and a legacy of controversy. By legend, this masterpiece once belonged to a collection featured in sensational Romanov-era investigations, later joining the crown's treasury after revolutionary turmoil in Russia. Sources insist these gems remember more than one drama, and the tiara's history is shrouded in almost mystical mist. Queen Elizabeth II, guided either by strict protocol or her own intuition, absolutely refuses. No new daughter-in-law will have the right to a tiara with a dark past. Tabloid headlines explode. Banned. Rebellion. The palace in turmoil. Prince Harry later protests publicly. What Meghan wants, Meghan gets. But wanting isn't enough. This is about safeguarding the dynasty's memory, with every jewel carrying echoes of long-ago dramas. The true reason for the refusal remains a secret to this day, but that choice of tiara turned into a saga worthy of a modern British epic. Palace gossip only fanned the flames. Coincidence? Or are the fatal jewels dictating their will again? Behind every official decision at Buckingham Palace lie extra layers of meaning and emotion. The secret battle for right to the family's heirlooms can be just a facade, covering deeply personal fears and ambitions. Some say Elizabeth II's denial to Meghan Markle was not just about protocol, but also stemmed from jealousy, a longing for youthful energy, for the new Duchess's unbreakable vitality and her ability to shine in public with a freedom the older royals rarely possessed. The global scrutiny, the spotlight on every gesture and ring, only widened the generation gap. No doubt, behind all the ceremony was a more complicated mix of feelings. The Queen, always in control, down to the tiniest detail, would often say to her inner circle, "Rooted traditions are the guarantee of stability." Any challenge to those traditions was a personal insult. There were even veiled hints at a kind of revenge. For each broken ritual, for every display of independent style, came a reminder of the Queen's inescapable power, touchable by emerald glitter or Western headlines. The inner war between protocol and individuality only grew fiercer, creating an invisible but almost tangible tension in the palace air. Sometimes it seems the true drama didn't happen publicly, but behind closed doors, where a single icy glance from the monarch could decide the fate of a jewel in silence. The British crown has its own blacklist of jewels pieces considered too dangerous or provocative. for certain royals to wear in public. Stories of brooches with political symbolism are far from fairy tales. Once, Elizabeth II wore a brooch given by the President of the United States at an official appearance during heated negotiations as a subtle sign of national displeasure. Similarly, Princess Margaret's oversized, dazzling earrings under 1960s camera flashes repeatedly drew criticisms. Luxury shouldn't be associated with those who broke protocol or abandoned the image of the modest lady. Some of the Queen Mother's necklaces had special restrictions. These family heirlooms, echoing 100 years of history, were never passed to women marked by divorce or scandal. Legend has it these pearl and diamond strands absorb not only the aura of power, but also hidden pain, so only women of spotless, crystal clear reputation are worthy of them. Every new scandal was a litmus test: which jewel would be banished next, which relic would change hands quietly behind the scenes. It's hard not to feel that behind the splendor of royal ceremonies and imperial glamour, there's a hidden alphabet, code of hints and signs where every brooch and earring is a message. For the inner circle, in the royal family, jewels have always been more than decoration, they're weapons in the struggle for status. Some earn the best tiaras from their very first meeting, like Kate Middleton, who wore the legendary Cartier halo tiara at her wedding, a privilege reserved for royals. And Meghan Markle, in contrast, was never given access to the main Windsor heirlooms. She was pointed toward less important pieces, sometimes even allowed to wear carefully borrowed replicas sparkling on the surface, but without any of the history's magic inside. Public humiliation could be found in every detail of the wardrobe. During family gatherings, while Kate shone in diamond-encrusted jewels, Meghan made do with modest earrings, lacking any family legacy. The dress code protocol didn't fail. One mistake could cost a royal her standing, not just now, but in the eyes of hundreds of years of tradition. Usually, it wasn't just about sternness, but a silent signal: you're not one of us. The fiercer the battle for the right to shine, the sharper the old disputes over privilege, status, and the secretly passed symbols of true power. The stricter the rules against the new Duchess, the bolder her response. Meghan Markle openly wore Princess Diana's jewelry, pearl earrings, aquamarine rings, necklaces tied to private tragedy. This was a public challenge, a gesture of solidarity with women who'd paid a high price for the crown. Sometimes, at royal events, Meghan's outfits almost exactly echoed Elizabeth II's iconic looks. The details, the color choices seemed to say, "I see the rules but I won't accept them quietly." Rumor had it Meghan had an unexpected ally, Prince Charles, who often turned a blind eye to jewel protocol breaches and even gave Meghan treasures once belonging to an outsider, a nod to their shared rebellious spirit. The Queen's composure and patience only deepened, but tension around Buckingham's kitchen tables grew. The pattern of jewelry choices began to look like secret moves in an endless game for influence. Sometimes, at the height of royal passion, the scandal isn't about titles or positions, but about the right to choose who you want to be in this glittering theater of family splendor where the official record is silent. Court gossip comes alive. The Buckingham Palace, staffed the keepers of nuance for centuries, noted with striking accuracy every nervous flicker. In Meghan Markle's relations with the royal family, it was said Meghan often lingered at her own mirror, trying on long-forbidden jewels, as though channeling her predecessor's dreams of open rebellion. In the palace kitchens, there was chatter each morning over which royal guest had paid too bold a compliment to new earrings, or who had glimpsed Meghan in a necklace connected to a scandal best left unspoken. Other duchesses' reactions drew special attention. Kate Middleton, always outwardly composed and perfect, grew ever stricter in her own style. Her jewelry became almost severely classic, a silent manifesto of old rules. Other ladies showed sympathy only with fleeting glances, gone the moment the Queen entered the room. Bookmakers, always eager to predict scandal, set odds on a Sussex split that spiked each time Meghan wore a jewel with to clear a past. Every appearance, every accidental brooch, was seen as a symbol and, maybe, a sign of trouble ahead. Anyone who's lived at court knows, sometimes, a whisper in the corridor is louder than any official announcement. Spring 2019, the final spark before the break. At another ceremony, Meghan Markle appeared in an elegant dress without a single classic Windsor jewel. Sharp-eyed observers quickly noticed she wore a brooch Princess Diana had worn during meetings with charity representatives in the late 1980s. Within a day, British tabloids published sensational material. Some of the most famous jewels, including the iconic aquamarine ring and emerald earrings, had disappeared from inventory books, and, according to anonymous sources, could easily have been shipped to America at the palace. people whispered about an ultimatum from Elizabeth II. Either the centuries-old hierarchy is respected, or the young family loses the right to corporate jewels. This ultimatum rang out as a final chord, ending not only the story of the jewels, but also Meghan and Harry's era as a royal couple. Official sources made no statements, but even so, the intrigue reached such heights that every step the couple took in London felt like the closing of an era. It's remarkable they left with not just suitcases, but a whole collection of stories adorned with diamonds at least as bright as the real ones, maybe more so. Was Megxit the fulfillment of a daughters-in-law curse, or simply the triumph of personal ambition? This is a question that will continue to intrigue society and historians for years to come. Meghan and Harry's departure from the royal family opened a new chapter. Many historic jewels were left in limbo, access to them strictly closed to the next generation. Rumors swirled that some pieces, linked to the crown's stormiest chapters, had been locked away for good. No one would be surprised if they never returned to the public eye. From time to time, a new daughter-in-law's name hits the press, and once again, journalists speculate: will the same tragic spiral repeat? Will the next necklace or tiara signal another rift? Reports more and more often echo the familiar phrases: the curse lives on. Tradition versus freedom. The veil grows thicker, and with every new scandal, another page is added to the history of the British Crown's family jewels, where myth walks hand in hand with reality, and the fates of people and their treasures remain forever entwined.